Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Brief Nerdity podcast. My name is Trent and I will be your host for the evening. Joining me this week as my co-host is Ben. Again, how you doing, Ben?
Glad to be back. Doing better.
That's
It's been a
good.
good day.
Good. Remember last week was
Then,
not a good day.
eh, I deal with truckers all the time. It's not usually a good mix, but today, no assholes. So,
Well, that's always good.
yeah, tends to improve the mood.
Excellent. Alrighty, well, to jump into the show, let's talk about what we've been playing and what we've been watching. So I'll go ahead and go first since mine's a little bit interesting and hard to explain. Well, it's not super hard to explain, but anyway, I started playing again a game that I had played for a little while called Supremacy 1914. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
So it's a web-based strategy game that takes place over the course of multiple days, sometimes weeks. And 1914, the Supremacy 1914 takes place during World War One, and there's a bunch of different map modes, some more realistic than others in terms of like all the people that are participating. But so you have your country broken up into different sections. Each section has a city in it that produces units. And so you start producing just infantry, and then you can later build buildings and stuff in the cities. And there's a little bit of resource management and whatnot. But so I mean, you can like build up your forces and send them to go attack like the neighboring country, and it can take like 12 hours for them to get there.
So
And then
this is almost like a really in-depth version of Risk.
yes, it is very much like that. And it
And I'm looking
like
at some pictures right now, and it looks pretty in-depth.
yeah, and it plays out over real time. There's no pausing. It's all multiplayer. So you're dealing with other people or AI controlled smaller countries,
Let's
um,
see. So check in once a day.
or more.
Yeah, I mean, 12 hours to get somewhere, but still.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm actually in 5 games right now, which is a little overkill maybe, but a friend of mine
A little
joined,
bit.
so I
A little
joined the
bit.
ones that he had joined, and it's really fun. And but like so, it's one of those things where the game is in the strategy, and obviously not like in the action, because the action is so delayed and and even the battles themselves can take hours. And you just kind of watch like a timer tick down to when the next roll happens, basically. And but the game and the
Riveting.
fun is in the strategy. And so you get on
Hmm.
and you make some decisions. You start some buildings and some units, and then you move, make some moves, and then you leave it alone for a few hours, and you come check back in later. Um, it's just fun to see it play out uh, every now and then, and it's like Risk, like depending on troop movement and who gets what first, and all that stuff, you can overextend yourself or underextend yourself and end up losing terribly, but it's still super fun.
So, in whatever you would consider your main game, where are you stationed in the
Uh,
world?
main game.
He's not sure. This is not a good sign.
Well, I know where I am in each of my games. I don't really consider any of them my main game.
All right, well, give me all five. I'm curious.
So the first one I joined is a uh, 500 player entire world map. So the
Wow.
entire world is broken down into 500 different countries. All even to the point where like each of the 50 states is basically its own country. Like each of the sections of Canada, like it's very in depth.
Don't worry about it.
Turn your phone off. No, just kidding. Um, but in that one, I'm in central Canada, northern central Canada. My country is called Fort Enterprise, because you know that's actually its name because it's based off of a city up there called Fort Enterprise. And I was like, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I'll pick this country. Why not? And then the next one, I am Western Algeria, and I'm doing pretty well in that one. I'm about to conquer Morocco. Um, and then
I'm
in
sure they deserved it.
exactly, and that's more of the standard 31 player map. Um, So there's fewer countries. You can't see the entire world. It's mostly just like if you've ever played Axis and Allies, it's like the Europe map of that basically. So you can see like part of the U.S., part of Africa, Eastern Europe, and
Yeah, for sure. Kind of more of a centralized war.
yeah, part of the Middle East, stuff like that. And then the next one, it's a 100-player world map, so it's like the 500 one, but not quite as subdivided. And in that one, I am New Zealand, which is super fun. I'm doing a lot of island hopping and just ignoring a lot of the big players and going after all the small islands. And my plan is to build like a big navy and have lots of fun out there.
And have everyone from Hollywood come film there.
Exactly. Just open up movie rights and
Money.
make all the money. And then the last two, I am Norway in a game with my friend Matt, and he is Northern Russia. And then the next one after that, we both joined randomly, and we happened to each get Western and Eastern Libya,
Hmm.
which is fun. So we're
It's
like
quite
back
the
to back,
coincidence.
and so it's really nice that we can like not have to worry about one of our borders. And it cracks me up because I keep thinking of the quote from the first Back to the Future with "They found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Who? The Libyans." Cracks me up every time.
Oh, I love that movie.
I know it's good stuff. So those are all my 5 games at the moment. The bad thing is that I found out the same company makes 2 other games called hang on, I got them bookmarked. Call of War and Conflict of Nations, which is basically the same game, but one of them's World War II focused and one of them's modern day tech focused. I was like, crap.
So we might not hear or see from you for a while.
I might lose my job and disappear off the face
I
of the
mean, in one game, you're in 5. I mean, you just entered in 2 more.
earth.
This is worrisome.
You don't know me.
I do.
So yeah, that's me and what I've been playing. How about you?
Well, I am still having fun going through Rogue Legacy. It is a blast.
Have you beaten it yet?
Procedurally, I know I haven't had too much time to play, and it's actually surprisingly difficult at times. Um, it's I mean, honestly, the longer you go, the easier it gets because the longer you go, the higher the level of characters you get. I believe your character level is basically just based on the upgrades you've purchased. So, the further you go, the stronger you're going to get. The different characters you can get, you can upgrade the characters. So, like for instance, the Lich, not super strong, but can convert max HP into into mana, and they're really good spellcasters. So you basically every kill you get more max HP. Then you just transfer it into mana and you go to town on everybody. So
Nice.
it's a lot of fun. Thoroughly enjoying it. Like I said, though, surprisingly difficult at times. Really, really thought I would do better this time around. Not living up to that at
I'm
all.
sure you're doing good.
And then also played a bit of Jackbox recently. It's a crazy addicting game for parties. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, I love Jackbox.
Love, love me some Jackbox.
For those who might be listening who don't know what it is, describe it for them.
Basically, it's a collection of little games that you can play in a group. And the way it works is whoever's got it installed on their laptop typically will project it up onto their TV, wherein it will tell you to go to a certain website on your phone. And basically, everybody's controller is their phone. So they log into said website, and then instructions are given. Like there's a lot of games that involve, say, drawing or just making up random phrases, to see which one will go best or which one's hilarious. Tends to go towards the hilarious side. So, and basically, some of them people get to vote for points, and it's just a lot of fun. Definitely worth a grab, except for 3 apparently. I only have 1 and 2, and I was told 3 was an abomination. So,
Does 2 have the murder mystery game in it?
yes, it does.
I freaking love that one. That is my favorite. Murder mystery trivia.
Yeah, that one is a blast. The complaint I basically heard about 3 was it basically didn't introduce anything new. It was just a rehash of the same old crap. So
That's too
there
bad.
wasn't really a reason to get it. It just seemed like a grab for money.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed 1 and 2, and the fallout from 3 will probably teach them better, and they'll have to actually come up with new ideas for 4. So
Nice.
I look forward to it.
You said Fallout. That makes me want to go play Fallout 4.
Still need to beat that one. Still installed, taking up like 60 gigs of memory, but
I've actually beaten it. Technically, I was modded at the time, so it doesn't count as like for the achievement type stuff. But
mhm.
I didn't have any game breaking achievements. I just had like graphics mods mostly. But
Yeah, for me, it's carrying capacity.
uh,
I will carry my 500 brooms, dang it.
I don't mess with the carrying capacity. I play that one by the rules. I make what I do is I identify and remember certain containers in the place I'm looting, and then I'll just fast travel back 2 or 3 times to gather those containers that I've put all the stuff in.
Yeah, for me, I just find that tedious, so I
Right,
just
of
up my
course.
carrying capacity and call it good. But
But I mean,
I mean,
dying is tedious, and traveling is tedious, and I mean,
exactly. So I like to do it the first time I'm there.
well, that's what I'm saying. I've had this argument with a friend of mine that Levi. Uh,
Hmm.
at what point do you draw the line between what is tedious and I'm just fixing what I find annoying to like, well, I find dying annoying, so I'm gonna play in God mode the whole time.
I used to be a lot more cavalier about it, but I don't know. I used to be a lot more strict, I guess I would say, on doing things by the book and everything. But the older I get and the less time I have, I find myself becoming a lot more cavalier with the rules. And I would pretty much just say, you know what, as long as you're having fun, who cares? For me personally, carrying capacity doesn't really break the game. I just don't want to have to, come back 2 or 3 times to loot. If that works for you, great. I mean, the reality is you can pretty easily get by just grabbing more what's actually useful. My biggest problem isn't that I grab everything; it's that I don't go off to sell it very often. So, or unload. So,
Yes.
I just get too much crap built up in there, and it just irritates me. So I just up the carrying capacity. But as far as like say God mode, then I think you've taken it to a point to where the game's just no fun. I mean, if it's still fun for you, more power to you. But I mean, if there's no challenge at the same time,
So wait, am I to understand that you think the games are supposed to be fun?
yeah, I'm kind of weird like that.
That's
For
strange.
some reason, I like enjoyment.
But I want to tell you how you should play. No, I'm just kidding.
I've never been an achievement hunter really. I just play to have a good time.
That's fair. Ooh, excuse me.
Never
Oh, sorry.
never understood the whole achievement hunting thing. Like I literally knew someone once who was just playing a game they truly hated, but they had to get every achievement. I'm just like, why?
Yeah, I would never do that. I play the achievements as kind of a record for what I've done in a game, and I like them for. I think World of Warcraft still, to me, has done the best job with achievements because they give you rewards sometimes, and they also they point out things that you can do in the game that you may not know about, and like give you extra activities to do. And
Yeah,
I
there's
find that
definitely
very fun.
games that have done a better job with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the console games though, a lot of the achievement hunting in there is just kind of pointless.
Yeah, I don't care much for the console ones, and the Steam ones are mean. I don't like. I've never gone for an achievement just to get the achievement unless it's an activity that I thought was like, ah, that sounds like a fun challenge.
Yeah.
I mainly just be like, I played through the game. These are the achievements I got. That I find that, and it's kind of like your score on an old arcade game. Like, oh yeah, I beat
Hmm.
the game. Here's my score. I find it kind of like a more in-depth version of that, which I think
That
is
makes sense. And I do get a certain level of enjoyment when I randomly get one. I'm like, oh, hey, I got an achievement. That's cool. I'm not against them. I just don't really go out of my way to seek them.
yeah, that's fair. I think I'm pretty close to that same thing.
Sounds like.
So, let's switch to what we've been watching lately. Uh, Most of my stuff's still pretty much the same. I don't want to be hit on the same note every time, so I'm going to talk a little bit about The Amazing Race, which I know is not like super new for me, but this newest season is going really well. I'm enjoying some of. They're getting down to some of like a smaller group now. There's like I don't know, like 5 or 6 teams maybe now, and this
I don't actually know what the Amazing Race is. Can you explain it?
what? How have you not
I,
heard of The Amazing Race?
I
It's been on for
got a
like
good idea what it is, but
it's been on for
I
like
mean,
a decade and a half. So The Amazing Race is a CBS reality show in which pairs of two race against each other around the world in various legs, like so different stretches, and basically, typically the last team to arrive in each leg gets eliminated, and then in the final leg, the first team to cross the finish line wins $1 million.
it sounds almost like a knockoff of that old Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There was an actual like Amazing Race cartoon where it was a bunch of like old characters and they raced against each other. And there was like Snidely Whiplash with his little mustache. Everybody's seen him. He had that dog. You know, always did the kind of laugh.
Do you remember when this took place? Like when the cartoon was?
It was definitely in my childhood. I mean, it's pretty old, although I do think they did a remake of it. But I mean, we're talking old school Hanna-Barbera, like, the age of Secret Squirrel and, you know, really old school stuff.
Huh. So like before 2001 then.
Oh, by far. I mean, we're talking like probably possibly early 70s, late 80s, somewhere around there, you know.
You watched a cartoon from the 70s?
I might have. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know exactly where it came out. I just know it's really old.
That's interesting. But yeah, so I guess maybe Amazing Race stole its idea from a cartoon. That would be funny. But anyway, it's one of my CBS reality shows that I watch. I love that one, Big Brother and Survivor.
Oh, sheesh.
Yep.
It's even older than I thought it was. It's actually called Wacky Races, and it's like 1968.
Holy crap,
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive.
Well, but
That'd be really funny to like see what the connection is and see if there's like if someone actually like stole the idea from that cartoon. That'd be great.
possibly. I don't know if they actually raced around the world, but it was just all about different teams racing.
Nice.
You know,
Sounds awesome.
watched a lot of TV when I was a little kid
That's
at Grandma's house. We didn't have a TV at home, but Grandma had TV. She had the good stuff.
that's pretty awesome. So what have you been watching lately?
Well, I figured I would mention two movies I both watched and rewatched recently. Um, saw the Emoji Movie. It is just so awful.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can't. I'm like having trouble expressing just how putrid the movie was.
Sir
I
Patrick
mean,
Stewart as Poop couldn't save it.
well, that might have been the only redeeming factor is listening to Poop sound so eloquent. But other than that, I mean, it was annoying. Nothing seemed to flow together. I it just wasn't good. The writing was bad. None of the characters were particularly likable.
Yeah.
I had a few surprisingly big names in it. You got to wonder how these people get roped into that. They're like, "Oh, I'm a pile of crap. Let's do this." It almost reminds me of there's just certain actors out there they'll take anything. I swear.
Well,
Although in Patrick Stewart's defense,
right,
he looks like he's having a blast. So I
right.
can't really say I blame
It
him.
was probably fun and silly, and he probably got paid very well.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
For a couple of lines.
right.
So
I'm assuming
by
that
the same
they were
token,
hoping that movie was going to be like the next Despicable Me or something,
I honestly think it was maybe a marketing scheme Kind of like how Trolls was basically one giant scheme to rebrand old music and claim it was their own.
Well, and to relaunch the toy brand from the 80s.
Also true. I mean, they basically took a toy brand that nobody gave a crap about anymore and then threw a bunch of catchy songs from like the 70s and 80s, and voila.
And
Suddenly they have song rights and toy rights.
Justin
But
Timberlake and Anna Kendrick, and you got yourself a manufactured hit.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'll be honest. I still enjoyed the movie, but you know, I do believe it was just a marketing scheme, kind of a get rich quick, if you will. Just a way to brand a bunch of stuff. But the Emoji Movie, I kind of get the feel that they were kind of trying to go that route, but they just failed so hard at it that, just nobody cares. And then by the same token, I rewatched Angry Birds, and I actually really enjoyed that movie, which was really surprising because, I mean, it's a game about launching little birds and trying to murder pigs. And they came up with a decent story. I mean, I really liked it.
Nice. So is it like the first successful video game movie?
I never thought about it that way. I doubt it's the first successful video game movie per se, but it's probably one of the first. Well, I think there's been other animated movies that could probably, Well, no, I'm trying to think of one now.
Gotcha.
Shoot, no, it might be. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I definitely can't say there's been a good live action video game movie. I'm not sure that's ever going to happen.
No, it's going to happen with Tomb Raider this year. I'm calling it.
I don't know. The problem is you have these characters who are just larger than life. It's the whole reason nobody can play Batman. He's built up so big that you just can't fill the shoes, so to speak. I mean,
it'll be fine.
As much as I love the old Super Mario Brothers movie, it wasn't actually good. It was more like so bad that I enjoyed it. But
exactly.
And Bob Hoskins, he's amazing, but even that just wasn't enough to make a Mario movie good.
We're gonna get an animated Mario movie. Did you hear about that?
I did. I'm actually excited about that. See, I really feel like that's kind of more the direction they should go with these things. Very few movies could be adapted to real life very well, especially with the more cartoony, animated, type of characters. Like Mario, for instance. He's short, he's squat, he's expressive, he makes fun noises, and he jumps around. Kind of hard to pull off in real life. Can you imagine anybody doing that? Aside from possibly Jim Carrey, but we'd have to make him, gain 50 pounds. And maybe shorten him a bit.
And shave off that giant beard that he's been growing lately.
Yeah, he can keep the mustache, but point is, it's really hard to emulate that. Like, how do you find somebody who embodies Link per se, from the Zelda series? I mean, or Zelda for that matter. It's near impossible.
I think that one they could actually pull off pretty easily.
Probably because it's more lifelike.
Yeah.
But I still think it'd be dang near impossible. And the reality is some people might love it, but so many are going to hate it no matter what you do. As opposed to, I think if you do animated flicks, I think you'll probably have a much higher chance at having an actual success rate. Because in animation, you can still do all the wacky things that, embody the characters.
Right.
And realistically, if they're smart, they don't have to find some overpriced actor to play the role. You just find somebody who sounds like it. I mean, it's just voice acting. It's going to be a lot better, a lot cheaper.
In fact, you wouldn't even need a voice actor for Link because he never speaks.
Actually goes for a lot of video games characters. I mean, especially the old ones in the past. Many of them didn't speak. They just kind of grunted a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, somebody might get paid a lot to just be like, ha, ha, ah!
They could hire some nobody YouTuber who does voices or something.
Oh, for sure. It's kind of like
Damn,
there's this really fat guy who runs around dressed as Peter Griffin, and he does an
Yes.
amazing job.
I've
He
seen him.
sounds like a real life Peter Griffin. You get somebody like that who just loves to do the voice. They're in love with just making noises, and you'll have a hit.
Yep. You just pay him like 20 grand and give him a ticket to the premiere and then be happy as heck, you know?
Oh yeah, and for the love of all that is holy, I swear if you freaking hire a director who doesn't have a freaking clue what the series is about, you should be shot. Because that crap's getting old. They keep hiring people who don't have any
I feel like
concept of the genre.
I feel like at this point in 2018, there's got to be movie directors that have played these video games before, right?
You would think. But I mean, I think one of the biggest problems in movies these days is everybody has to have their own vision. It's like, no, we wanted freaking, Link or Mario. We have a story. It works. Knock it off. We don't care about your version. We want to see this.
That's the thing. It's like if you can do faithful adaptations of movies or of books to movies, why is it so hard to do a faithful adaptation of a video game? Like,
Well, every video game movie I've ever seen, the people who directed it they've never played it. They don't have a clue about it. They didn't research it.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. In the Super Mario Brothers, Koopa was a dinosaur, a T-Rex.
Yeah.
What the crap? I mean, there was like no research in there. You could have picked up a little NES booklet and learned enough more than those directors do.
Pretty much. All right, let's go on to a happier topic. Black Panther comes out this week. I'm pretty excited. Are you excited?
I am, in fact, excited for Bling Panther.
Black Panther.
Oh, come on. You can't tell me you didn't think that when the letters come up and it's like, bam! Twinkle, twinkle.
It was very shiny.
Bling Panther. And then you see him in a suit like all, like highlighting in purple, and you're just like, yeah. Bling Panther. Badass.
He does look freaking badass. I love.
He does. I do wish they would have toned down the colors a little.
Yeah. So they're looking. It looks like it's gonna be, and the number keeps growing. So I'm not sure where they pull these guesses from, but they're saying that it could make over 170 million for its opening weekend, which is awesome and crazy.
What movies would that liken it to, or is that supposed to be like a new record?
Let me find out for you.
Also, opening weekends, I feel like they're not a very good judgment of how something will be. Because sometimes people get really excited, cough, cough, Batman versus Superman, and then find out it's a crap storm.
Yeah. So. Okay, maybe I got the number wrong. 170 million is not that big. If that was the first day, that would be huge.
Yes, that would be gigantic for the first day.
For the opening weekend, the title is held by The Fate of the Furious at 541 million.
For an opening weekend?
Yeah.
Dang, and that also saddens me greatly.
Yes. Number 2 is The Force Awakens. Number 3 is Jurassic World.
See, those ones I'm okay with, but Fast and the Furious? Oh.
I freaking love
really?
them. They're so much fun.
Yeah, but
they're ridiculous. But they're
world-breaking records? I mean,
Oh yeah. Well, part of that is they're huge in the foreign market as well, like China and overseas.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I just. Although it does remind me of that movie coming out. I'm going to call it Cock Blockers, but I guess it's technically just named Blockers. I don't know if you've seen anything on it, but it's got John Cena and. Oh, I can't remember the name of the lady. She was in like George of the Jungle. And some other guy who I recognize but could not name. And it have you seen the previews for it?
What is it called?
Blockers, or more commonly Cock Blockers, because it looks like a rooster on top of it and it says Blockers.
I've seen the trailer for it. They're like
Oh my
like
gosh.
trying to keep your kids from having sex on prom night.
Yeah, basically. It's just, it looks hilarious. I'm not going to lie. It looks horrible and hilarious. But anyways, just because you brought up Fast and the Furious, it just reminds me there's a scene in the trailer where he's like, you know what to do. What would Vin Diesel do? They wreck, but
So the opening day record is held by The Force Awakens at 119 million. So if Black Panther could beat that, that would be crazy.
it might. Kind of doubtful, but it might.
Twilight's still in the top 10. We got to bust that out of there somehow.
Oh, oh.
Just make you throw up in your mouth a little.
Just throw up a little. Damn sparkly vampires. I'll never be happy about that.
Can I let you in on a guilty secret?
Oh, I'm sure you loved it.
I didn't hate them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, let's
I
face it.
recognize how bad they are, like on just both.
How often is the llama running around shirtless? I'm sure you enjoyed every minute of it.
the llama?
You've never seen that?
No.
The werewolf guy. There's a picture of him and a llama, and he looks like the llama. I will forward this to you. It is hilarious.
That's funny.
Like, oh my gosh, it's like priceless.
But yeah, so like I understand like for like feministic reasons why it's a not great movie, and I also understand that just like in terms of like storytelling, they're not great movies. But I can't help it.
Well,
And actually, like the universe itself was actually kind of cool. Like the idea that the different vampires had different kinds of powers, like the werewolves being like Native American and stuff. Like in the hands of a better writer, that could have been really good.
yeah, better actors too, but
Right.
I'm not a Patterson fan. I
like,
think he's
just
so,
the world.
Like I'll be honest. I saw the first one. It was just awful. But during the entire movie, I mean, I don't know. He just seems super creepy, and he's always like half stoned.
Yeah, and then she's making weird faces the whole time.
Oh my gosh, she is Blandzilla. I mean,
Twilight did give us Anna Kendrick because she played one of her friends.
Okay.
And Anna Kendrick is amazing.
Does not justify the series.
It does. Okay, not just.
You know what? Who am I to talk? I've already admitted my love of the Super Mario Brothers movies, so I mean, I got no room to speak.
It doesn't like justify it in terms of like making it good, but I mean, like there's a lining, there's a silver lining to the anyway, we should stop talking about Twilight. We're losing.
One last thing.
One last thing. Hemorrhaging listeners.
One last thing. The only thing one of the main reasons I couldn't stand it was I didn't like the fact that they took everything that it was to be a vampire, threw it out the window, and just rewrote it and then called it a vampire.
Pretty much.
It's like calling a narwhal a unicorn. It just doesn't really make sense.
But they are unicorns in their minds. You can't take that away from them.
The unicorns of the sea.
That's right.
All right, moving on.
So Black Panther looks exciting. I'm excited. To the next story, this actually comes from the BBC, and it's pretty awesome. I don't know if you read through this article or not, but the headline is "Schizophrenia Patients Calmed by Video Game." Have you read any of this?
I haven't, but I could definitely see where that would affect them.
So they said that people with schizophrenia can be trained by playing a video game to control the part of their brain linked to verbal hallucinations, researchers claim. Patients in a small study were able to land a rocket in the game when it was connected to the brain region sensitive to speech and human voices. And in time, the patients in the study learned to use techniques in their daily lives, to reduce the power of hallucinations. And I was like, well, look at that. Video games saving.
That almost just sounds like biofeedback integrated into games.
I know, which is even cooler.
That's an interesting.
With their brain.
See, I was totally thinking that some of the more base games that involve more repetitions of actions could have like a calming effect, but I was way off.
I mean, that kind of stuff I'm sure is true too. Like there's it's interesting. Like they talk, people talk about all the but video games make you antisocial and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, you don't know what you're talking about. Like one of my most social activities is playing video games.
Well, not to mention in this day and age where everything is, live, chatted. There's a lot of interaction now. You're not just playing Double Dragons in your mom's basement anymore.
Exactly.
Fun game.
I love that game. So that's pretty cool stuff. I love that people are finally like accepting that video games have the ability to be used as problem-solving tools and as like ways to help people with severe anxiety and other kinds of things. Schizophrenia patients like this. It's super cool.
I think a lot of that's just coming out because the nerds are finally that played all the video games in the past are finally old enough to, have a say.
It's true. So the next bit of news is about Fortnite. Were you playing Fortnite with us?
I haven't recently, but I have played Fortnite. It's a lot of fun.
You played the Battle Royale version?
Yeah, like the 50 on 50.
Well, yeah. Well, it's they're actually doing a new 50 on 50 version.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
I lost my place. Oh, so other potential new modes include a new version of the 50 versus 50, dubbed 50v50v2 for version 2. They separate the teams from each other. You launch from two different buses, start from different sides of the map, and has more supply drops and stuff. And like you can see on your mini map where other members of your team are. That sounds pretty fun. Other game modes that they teased were like versions of where you can't touch the ground, like the floor is lava, but the whole map. You have to use the building mechanic to get from place to place. I think that sounds super awesome.
That could be a lot of fun. It's nice to see them actually incorporating the building scheme into the actual combat.
I know, right? So.
I mean, yeah, you built walls and hid behind them before, but this is a lot more in depth. It's impressive.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm terrible at the building aspect, but I could team up with some people who aren't, and then I'd be fine. I just need practice.
I'm pretty much just terrible at it, period. But I enjoy it.
Hey, me too. Both of those things are applicable to me. So we've got quite a few listener questions. So why don't we go ahead and just jump into those? Unless you had anything else you want to talk about news-wise.
Nothing I can think of.
Sweet. So Ted wants us to talk about the new Deadpool 2 trailer. Have you seen the newest one that has Cable in it?
Yeah, it was humorous.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. They're bringing the cab driver back. Depinder, I think his name is.
I did laugh my butt off when the trailer I watched, like his arm was still green, and he's like, "Wait, what? This isn't finished?
Yeah.
Come on!"
Yeah, it was that trailer.
Yeah.
Why is the CG not finished? And he goes into the little like stick with the little action figures, and he's parodying Toy Story.
Yeah, that was pretty comical.
For this guy. Oh no, Sheriff Deadpool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know. I'm still in the. I still think Deadpool was overhyped. I didn't think it was good as everybody else thought. It was still a good movie, but
You're dead to
I don't know. Yeah, I'm dead to a lot of people.
You're officially dead to me.
Yeah, it happens.
We're no longer friends.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, so I mean, are you gonna go see the next one?
Oh yeah, I still really enjoyed the first one. I don't know. Maybe it was because I saw it so late and people hyped it up so dang much.
Gotcha. Is it an opening weekend movie for you, or just whenever you have time?
I'm cheap and don't have a lot of time, so we'll see.
That's fair.
To be honest, I don't usually go to the theaters unless a friend calls me up and says, "Hey, guess what we're doing?" All right.
That's fair. I'm
That's
usually
how I
that
saw Thor 3.
I'm usually
So,
that friend, so I'm making all my friends go with me to see Black
well,
Panther this Saturday. So,
too bad you're on the other end of the country. So,
well, I mean, anytime you want to fly to Kansas City, you can. I'll take you to
oh,
a
let
movie.
me get right on that. We just established I'm cheap.
All right, well, fly like Virgin or Spirit or whatever one of those like crappy airlines where the wings are gonna fall off, and
Oh Lord, I don't even
I
have that
will
many. I don't even have that many days off.
I will buy you barbecue and uh, I'll take you to a movie.
Sounds like a plan. One day.
Very platonic, I
One day.
promise. I won't ask you to put out afterwards. Okay, so next question comes from Drew. He wants to know how has being a gamer conflicted with your adult life? Has it ever affected you professionally? You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I don't really have much to say on it. I mean, I just my answer is it hasn't,
Oh,
and
well, good.
it hasn't. I mean, it hasn't really affected me. I play games when I get home. The end.
Fair enough. Yeah. I imagine you probably don't talk about it at work much.
I deal with a bunch of truckers.
Well, exactly. So, for me, it's almost like expected that because I mean, I'm in IT, and yeah,
Much more common in that field. Not gonna lie.
right. So both, my coworkers and my like team members all expect me to be a video game nerd. So when I am, it's like, oh, of course you are. Like, and like at my last job, all my friends and I, like like one of the first things I did when I met the other guys in the tech support team was we traded Steam IDs. Like, so they're just super fast. And then at my job before that, one of my best friends there, that I worked with the longest and the closest, he and I both played WoW, and so we would talk about our WoW exploits like every Monday morning from the weekend. So it's always affected me, my professional life in a positive way. I've never had anybody like question the fact, and I've also never had to hide it before or ever like never say something about it, which is
Yeah, that was kind of the gist of what I was getting from the question. I mean, I could be completely off base, but I've never run into people that are like, "Oh, you play games? That's lame."
right.
Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Yuck, yuck, yuck. I
Yeah,
think we're
it's
finally
never
entering.
happened to me.
I think we're finally entering a period, and maybe it's different for people in different parts of the country or different fields or something. But like, I feel like video games are just comfortably part of mainstream culture now. Like, not everybody plays them, but it's like it's like any other hobby. It's just something that people do, and it's something some people do way
Um,
too much of.
it's definitely considerably more accepted and is no longer seen as what the nerds do.
Right. Like
But
the
I don't
douche
know.
bros have their
Even when I was young, I never had that happen. Nobody ever mocked me for liking Zelda. I mean,
right. Like
I
everybody
didn't
has a
hide
video
any of it.
game. Everybody that has a video game now that can appeal to them. Like the douche bros can play Call of Duty and Madden 35 or whatever.
Saddens me so much that the Madden games are like one of the top sellers every year.
Oh yeah,
Just makes me cry and die a little on the inside. To each their own,
yep. It's all
but their
good.
choice is wrong.
All right. So the next question comes from Luther. He wants us to talk about how retailers and manufacturers are attempting to sell graphics cards to gamers over cryptocurrency miners. I honestly didn't know a lot about this, and I still really don't know a lot about this, but I went and skimmed some stuff. Do you know anything about this?
I'm a little unclear. Like they don't want to sell the video cards to minors.
Yeah, cryptocurrency miners, like MINERS.
I mean, a sale's a sale. Why wouldn't you want to sell it to them?
I think that they, I don't know what the business aspect of it is, but I think people who do the mining for like Bitcoin and stuff are um, like maybe try to drive the price up by buying buying the stock out or something. I honestly don't know for sure. I probably should have left this question until I had done more research, but
Yeah, it doesn't seem like any of us really have anything to say about it. I mean,
so if you know more
I
about this topic and you want us to be informed, you should send us an email to briefnerdity@gmail.com and I will read it on the show.
indeed, because I have no idea why you wouldn't sell your product to somebody who wants it.
Exactly.
That makes no sense to me.
So write us up. Tell us why we're being stupid.
Maybe certain graphics card companies are just elite gamers and they're offended by cryptocurrency.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? Alrighty, next question again from Drew. Says the biggest letdown you've ever had in a video game ending. You got one that comes to mind? Because I have one if you don't.
Well, the obvious one would be Mass Effect for me, but
Mass Effect 3?
yes.
It's interesting. I was going to say Mass Effect Andromeda.
I still haven't finished that one, sadly.
My bad.
Oh, no worries. I've already heard it was disappointing. A lot of people were not big fans of the game.
I mean,
in fact, they're pretty much talking about how it killed the franchise. But
to be fair, the ending actually wasn't the worst part, so maybe that shouldn't be my answer. But it was so close to being really, really good, like the whole game, and yet it was just meh. Like, and I think a lot of, I mean, we've talked about this in the podcast a lot back when it happened, but I I don't think it's nearly as bad as the internet made it seem to be, and I don't like the negative reaction that basically caused the franchise to literally die.
I personally enjoyed when I played of Andromeda, and I put quite a few hours into it, so I didn't really understand where the hate was. But I didn't get any of the glitches, so maybe that was it.
That bad either. It's a decent to good game that was managed poorly and developed badly.
I didn't like it as much as the original Mass Effect trilogy. I mean, I'll give you that, but I still really enjoyed it.
It didn't meet the hype that everybody hoped that it would meet, and then they raged about it, and then it killed the franchise because EA's like, all right, well, I'm not putting money towards that thing anymore.
Well, Commander Shepard was a pretty big thing to live up to.
Well, not only that, it's like you set an impossible standard, but then internet communities these days are so volatile and angry and nasty, and if it's not 100% perfect the way you think it is, and it's trash and it's garbage and it's a piece of s, and like you should never, how dare you have ever released this piece of shit garbage nonsense.
And we're back to the video game movies.
Rant about it. Well, I mean, video game movies are actually bad.
They are, but I'm just saying that's the point I was getting at earlier. You're never going to make everybody happy. Matter of fact, the majority are probably not going to be happy with it. But
right. Well, but then they basically create their own bad situation, and that like EA looks at this community that's frothing at the mouth, pissed off at them, and they're like, okay, well, I guess we're not making any more Mass Effect games because they don't want to buy them apparently.
Because damn, that blew up in our face.
Right? Like there's no longer a financial benefit for EA to make them, and so they're like, okay, well, I mean, that's gone.
Yeah, part of the other problem is
for killing your own franchise.
Like, people can never just be like, I was unhappy about these parts. Hey, maybe you guys could change it. It's always,
exactly. Like, this is the worst game ever.
Exactly. They can't just be happy with what was good and hope for maybe fixes on the rest, or maybe a DLC that'll make things make more sense or something, or I don't know. But
by all means, tweet criticisms at the devs. Write an email, post on a forum somewhere.
Yeah, criticism, okay. Yeah. Death threats to developers, not so much.
Exactly. That's ridiculous. Like,
oh my gosh, get a life. Crying out loud.
I don't care how bad someone's art is. You don't threaten to kill them over it.
Well, you should never threaten to kill anybody, period. Obviously. That pretty much just means you're a horrible human being. But I don't know. Bringing us back to the question on disappointing. I guess my big gripe with the Mass Effect trilogy was they built up this big, beautiful world, and you had all these choices, and it just kind of felt like they didn't amount to dick.
Nope.
I mean, by the end, it's just like
red, blue, or green.
Yeah, I mean, it was just slight variations on the ending that had no effect on everything you'd done. You know,
Yep. Yeah.
so just to me, it was just awful.
You played the after they released all the updates, right? The
I
DLC
still
and
haven't
everything.
watched the extended.
The extended ending is better, and then also the DLC where I forget what it's called, the one where he gets his apartment or Shepard gets their apartment, and you see all the people come over. I can't remember what it's
Hmm.
called now. Anyway, it's a really good DLC, and it's
Is this like after the war? I mean,
no, I mean, it takes place. I mean, because Shepard more than likely dies at the end of the war, depending on your ending. Um,
spoiler alert and all that,
Spoilers for a really old game.
but it's been out a while. If you haven't heard about it yet,
But no, okay, now I'm gonna have to look this up so I get the name right.
I don't know. Shepard will forever live in my mind.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
whatever ending means he's alive, that's the real one.
Nice. Um, it's the Citadel DLC. You should download that
Hmm.
and play it if you haven't. It's really good. Um, so next question, also from Drew. Drew sent us a lot of questions. Some of them have been sitting here for a while, but I'll be honest, he asked a lot of questions, so we're gonna get to them eventually. But the next one is if open world or if huh, open-ended world games. For some reason that seems like the wrong phrase. But anyway, if open world games are flooding the market right now, what direction do you think the pendulum will swing after? I think he's talking about like
What
Horizon Zero
genre will be
Dawn,
the king next?
Assassin's Creed, those kind of open world sandboxy games. If those are king now, will we see a return to like super on the rails games, or what do you think?
Um, well, with the increase in gaming technology, computers, consoles, just the amount of data they can fit on something, I don't really see us trudging backwards to less expansive worlds ever.
Yeah,
I think everything from this point forward is pretty much going to be big and beautiful for the most part. I mean, there's going to be some indie games and some smaller games on the side, but as far as the general core gaming concept, I think bigger is pretty much perceived as better half the time, and it's going to pretty much dominate from now on.
I'd agree with that.
Like for instance, a lot of people loved the recent Zelda, and I read an article where um, basically the creator said that every Zelda game has had a map or area that was as large as the console could handle. So it's one of the reasons the new Zelda was so great. Finally, it had a console that could actually handle something of decent size. Thus, it was so much larger.
That's crazy.
And at this point, we've pretty much hit the point where stuff's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. What I'd like to see do better is VR.
Yeah, how much experience have you had with VR?
Well, I have a system. I have a Vive. I haven't used it once. I really
Really?
need to get on that.
Yeah, I've played one when I was visiting with Ryan in Salt Lake. I did some stuff, and that was really cool.
I was waiting on parts for my desktop, and then I just never got around to fixing it. So I actually bought a 1070 Ti just so that I could finally run the dang thing.
Yeah,
And
what I have.
it looks like a lot of fun. I'm really excited to play Bridge Commander. I'm excited to play Fallout 4 VR. Really not sure how that one's going to be, though. I mean, am I just going to be like looking at a screen, or am I actually going to feel immersed in the world? Because that's where I'd like to see it turn. I would love to see Skyrim, Fallout like games where you're actually a part of the world. You know, you feel like you're immersed inside it. That would be just phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. I, some kind of game like a World of Warcraft or a Skyrim. I mean, Skyrim and Fallout 4 are both coming to Vive and VR, so that's pretty exciting. Games like that I could
Can,
see
can,
really.
can you imagine high-end graphics on a game like WoW, and you've got a Vive headset on, and you're just looking at the expansive landscape as you fly by on a hippogriff? How cool would that be?
That'd be really, really cool.
It'd be pretty much frickin' fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I don't feel like we're going to get there, at least for a few years. I don't really see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah, every time I say that, I end up getting proven wrong. But
Then you need to say it some more.
I don't see it happening for many, many years.
How many years? The bigger the number, the better.
30.
It'll happen tomorrow. Fantastic.
Let's see. He also asked the new Cloverfield movie, weak or win. That was choices. I'll be honest, I've never seen a Cloverfield movie ever.
The only Cloverfield I saw was the original one with the Godzilla knockoff, and I hated every minute of it.
Yikes. Apparently, Drew, we are not the two people that should be answering this question.
Apparently not. But in all fairness, the original one basically, looked like the cameraman was being beaten up the entire time. And I get very motion sick. So it just basically made me sick.
Oh, that sucks. I've heard good things about Cloverfield, especially was like 10 Cloverfield Lane or something like that was the next one.
It was the one with John Goodman, right?
Yeah.
I heard good things. Heard good things about it. He's like a crazy old man in a bunker, and that just sounds fun. Especially with John Goodman. Who doesn't love John Goodman? Seriously.
Now, there's a couple things that I did like about what happened with the new Cloverfield. It went straight to Netflix, which I think is pretty cool. I like the fact that Netflix is getting into the movie, like competitive movie market, basically.
It's nice to see somebody rise up and compete. As what with all the Disney buyouts, as much as I love what Disney's doing and the movies they're putting out, it still worries me when they own everything.
Yep. We'll see if their buyout with Fox goes through or not.
I thought it already went through.
It's being approved by the government at the moment.
But are they worried about it being
there's too much of a monopoly is always the question. But
I will accept this one. This one needs to happen because dang it, the X-Men need to be brought back into the Marvel universe.
I want that to happen too. There are rumors that Comcast is going to come in and outbid Disney.
Comcast, ugh.
Right?
I would take Disney over them any day.
Yep. I was like, Disney, please open your wallet and beat them and make sure you get it, please.
Well, Comcast is just awful in every way, and they pride themselves on being the worst company ever. Disney, at least while seeming kind of greedy at times, puts out good stuff.
True.
So I'd rather have Disney.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm glad that. Oh, and the other thing that Cloverfield did, before I forget, they announced. So they had the Super Bowl commercial, right? And they're like, here's a new trailer for Cloverfield, blah blah blah. And then when the trailer was over, it's available right now on Netflix, and everyone was like, "What?"
Wait a second.
There's surprise bomb dropped, and the movie's available right now. And I wish that would happen a lot more often too, where it's
well, it's kind of a first too. I mean, was that the first big advertisement of it, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's actually kind of impressive because I mean, I don't think that's ever happened before. Oh, hey, look at this cool concept we got, and it's already available.
The closest we've ever got in the video game world that I can think of was the announcement for Fallout 4, because they were at E3 that July or June or whatever it is, and they're like, and it'll be out this October, and everyone was like, what? So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I wish more stuff would do that, because to be honest, I'm a little bit sick of the hype train for stuff, and there's nothing right now that I'm really just crazy excited about.
Well, part of what we were talking about earlier, I think the hype train actually ruins things.
It can sometimes.
like with Deadpool, I didn't think it was all it was cracked up to be because everybody built it into this legend before I saw it.
Deadpool.
It's just one example. I'm sure everybody has a movie where they're like, really?
Oh yeah.
That's it? I mean, come on, what, Citizen Kane? Really? Frickin' Rosebud? All right. I'll never understand that one. People always laud it, and I'm just like, nope.
Yeah. So I wish more companies would do that. Like we don't need like a teaser and then another teaser and then a trailer and then two more trailers and then 18 TV spots and all these interviews and it's like just tell me a really cool movie's coming out and tell me it's coming out next month. You
My
know.
wife would actually watch trailers for the most part. She
I
doesn't want
watch
it to give anything away.
Yeah, I watch like the first teaser and then the first trailer and then I try to avoid the rest because
I'm
it's like
too
just tell me
curious.
everything.
I
And my
watch everything.
and my brain is always like I'm sitting there in the movie and it's like, well, I haven't seen this scene and I haven't seen this scene and I haven't seen this scene, so I know that whoever's in trouble right now is not going to die. And
That's true.
sometimes like
Unless it's a flashback.
right,
It's a trap.
it's a trap. And then the unless you're like in a Rogue One situation where like half the trailer wasn't in the movie, but that's fine because of
It's kind of
reshoots.
odd, but all right.
Yeah, it was weird. One more thing. If you haven't seen the How It Should Have Ended for Star Wars: The Last Jedi, you need to go see it immediately because it is the funniest, one of the best jobs they've ever done. And most of the things that they propose are actually how those scenes actually should have gone.
Yeah, I still need to actually watch that movie.
You need to see it.
I
I
really,
I
really do.
liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't like it the first time. Like I was really let down. In future, like there's still things that bother me about it, but I give it like a B.
That's
So
actually part of the reason I haven't watched it. I've heard so much negative to where I was just like, I kind of know what's going to happen with Luke, and I don't like it.
yeah,
Like it kind of got ruined for me before I could see it, and I was like, oh, that's going to suck.
I would still go watch it. I still think it's worthwhile. There's some really cool parts of it
Oh,
still.
I'll still watch it. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be the Star Wars it won't be the Star Wars I wanted.
It's probably not, and it wasn't the one that I wanted. It's the one that I'm accepting.
That's the problem. Well, it's here and it's going to stay. You don't really have a choice.
Right,
But the problem is the general gist is what I'm getting from pretty much everybody is it isn't the Star Wars anyone wanted.
right.
So
So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think that'll actually do us for tonight. We're about an hour, so I think we'll cut it here. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us for another episode of the Brief Nerdity podcast. Feel free to send us an email at briefnerdity@gmail.com. Go to our website at briefnerdity.com and then the slash iTunes if you want to go to our iTunes feed. If you would like to help support the podcast, we would love for you to share these episodes on your social media of choice. And also go to iTunes and leave us a comment and a rating. That helps us get on the lists and the charts and everything. So if you
do
could do
it.
that, that would be fantastic. And let us know, what you think on the Facebook page. Start a discussion. Tell us what you think about our topics or what you think we should discuss next.
How can we
And
improve?
huh,
How can we improve?
exactly. So
Constructive criticism.
once again, thanks for listening, and thanks to Ben for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you all next week. Bye.